So I'm talking with my personal chef, and he says, control room. What's that? I don't have a personal chef? Yeah, you're right. But if I did, I'd tell them to watch NEOtropolis. This is not business as usual. Welcome to NEOtropolis. We are not business as usual. Hi, I'm your host, Jim Evans. You know, we make a concerted effort to keep things fresh here on our show, and that's sure the case this evening as we spend some quality time down on the farm. But it's not your everyday, ordinary farm. A family in Northeast Ohio shifted its business model to grow foods that, as they say, look good, taste good, and are good for you. At the same time, they're also educating people about the benefits of products like theirs. We take you to school on that in a few moments. But as we like to do, we'll first take a look at regional business news from the NEOtropolis Good Business News Aggregator.
This is the Good Business News along the I-77 corridor for the week of June 27th. Monday's Cleveland Plain Dealer Metro section reports that the city of Euclid is on its way to becoming a U.S. leader in wind energy with the installation of Euclid-based Lincoln Electric's 340-foot, 800,000-pound wind turbine. The $5.9 million structure is expected to produce 2.5 megawatts of electricity for Lincoln and cut $500,000 from the company's annual energy bill. Tuesday's Akron Beacon-Journal front page reports that in an effort to show its commitment to Northeast Ohio, especially the Akron area, Cleveland-based Medical Mutual of Ohio is seeking a location in downtown Akron for its mutual health services, currently located in Copley Township. Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer front page reports that some workers at Brook Park's Ford Motor Company's engine plant number 1 will be taking less vacation time next month in order to keep up with the demand for smaller, more fuel-efficient engines. Engine plant number 1 makes 2 V6 engines used in Ford's F-150 pickup. Last month, for the first time in the truck's history, the V6 engines outsold their V8 counterpart in the F-150. Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that the Cleveland International Exposition Center is making $25 to $30 million worth of improvements in the trade and convention center over the next several years in an effort to grow attendance and become even more of a destination venue. Wednesday's Akron Beacon-Journal business section reports that Cuyahoga-based privately held company Americhem is opening a new manufacturing facility in North Carolina to help the company meet its projections for double-digit growth over the next several years. Thursday's Cleveland Plain Dealer and Akron Beacon-Journal's business sections report that American Greetings Corporation's first quarter profits for fiscal year 2012 rose 5.7% to $32.6 million. American Greetings is the nation's largest publicly traded greeting card company. Thursday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that Kent Displays, a company founded by Kent State University professors, has received $7 million in financing to increase production of its Boogie Board product line. The Boogie Board is a modern equivalent of the old-fashioned chalk slate. This is the Good Business News along the I-77 corridor for this week. NEOtropolis is your source for good business news.
Okay, tonight's chef special, microgreens, heirloom vegetables, micro-herbs. You can also get that with a side of edible flowers. I even had some to show you, but our crew, well, it still remains on tonight's menu, of course, along with our normal fare. That always includes a generous serving from our content partner, the Business Journal. It's time for the Weekly Buzz.
I'm Stacia Erdis with the Business Journal Weekly Buzz for Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley. It has the potential to change the Mahoning Valley's economy. That's what Congressman Tim Ryan says about the Tech Belt Energy Innovation Center. Invited guests gathered for a tour and dedication ceremony at the new Green Technology Incubator in Warren.
The major issue facing the world in the next couple of decades and well into the future is going to be energy. We're saying here in the Valley today that Warren and the Mahoning Valley is going to be a major player.
The center will now engage a design firm to carry out the Department of Energy-funded Phase 1 of building renovations. The facade will remain, but the rest of the landmark Liberty Paramount Theater will be demolished. The Clean Ohio Revitalization Fund has approved an $803,000 grant for the project, allowing the city to pay for asbestos removal as well as the demolition work. City officials say the terracotta facade will be restored, with the site used as a municipal parking lot as well as a place for arts events and an outdoor market. Cleveland developer Lou Frango sold the building to the city for $80,000. If you ever wanted to get a first-hand look at where the Chevrolet Cruze is produced, now's your chance. GM and UAW Locals 1112 and 1714 will be hosting an open house at both the Lordstown East and West plants on Thursday, July 28th from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. It will also include a display of the just-launched 2012 Cruze, the Chevrolet Volt, and the latest cars and trucks, with a chance to win a Cruze. If you want to attend the tour, you do have to register. You can do that at any of the 18 Chevrolet All-Star dealerships in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania from July 5th to July 22nd. On the front page of the July edition of the Business Journal, manufacturers rebound. Reporter Dan O'Brien finds Coronado Steel resurrected.
14 years ago, Coronado Steel was a small foundry on the verge of shutting its doors. Now it's a different story. In 2008, the company reported $22 million in sales, and today has gone through 7 different expansions. Coronado's customer base numbers more than 150, and it employs nearly 50 workers.
Right now, things are strong, very, very strong.
In 1997, at the age of 29, Mike Phillips, now president and CEO, purchased the struggling foundry on Funston Drive in Youngstown, and within a year boosted its sales to $400,000.
You can read more on Coronado Steel in the July edition of the Business Journal, out now. And those are this week's headlines. Be sure to check out the Buzz newscast every business day online at businessjournaldaily.com. I'm Stacia Urtis. We'll see you next week.
And now it's time for a NEOtropolis Fact.
Did you know that if Ohio were a country, it would rank as the world's 25th largest economy? Northeast Ohio represents 50% of Ohio's GDP.
Sustainable. Fairly prominent in our vocabulary here on NEOtropolis. And for our purposes this evening, it's sustainable farming, specifically the Chef's Garden. An enterprising farming family in Huron made a strategic transition from, quantity to quality. Here the premium is on flavor, from growing crops through natural means in full accord with nature. Jennifer Boers went out in the field and now tells us about their growing success story.
We're here at the Chef's Garden in Huron, and chefs from all around the world rely on them for fresh produce just like this. And the farming techniques they use here are definitely not business as usual. The Chef's Garden is a family farm that grows and markets gourmet vegetables, herbs, and greens by working directly with chefs.
Our whole emphasis is on sustainably grown vegetables and trying to work in harmony with nature rather than trying to outsmart it.
It all started decades ago when Lee and his brother Bobby were helping their father, Bob Jones, on the family farm.
We began by selling very locally, to farmers markets. Each one of us took a truck. We had absolutely no money, and we had some old junk trucks that we never knew whether we were going to make it. We didn't buy a license plate for 5 years because we couldn't afford them. We always made sure we had a lot of mud on the license plates.
For years, they had farmed in a conventional way, but after losing a significant amount of crops after a strong hailstorm in the 80s, the Joneses had to be resilient and kept plowing ahead.
My father told me, he died when I was very, very young, but one of the few pieces of advice he gave me was that I wish you eternal dissatisfaction. And for a long time, I never understood that. But I've come to understand that that's really what life is about. Anyone who stagnates dies. They may be alive and walking, but they die. You have to be looking ahead. You have to be challenged. You have to be thinking. You have to be moving on. To me, that's life. If I couldn't do that, what's the sense of being alive?
We lost the family farm when I was 19. We were farming commercially. We were farming chemically, the way the university taught. And as devastating as it was to lose the farm, it did allow us an opportunity to rethink the way that we were farming. And you know, my dad has a saying that the only thing we're trying to do is get as good as the farmers were 100 years ago.
One day, a chef approached Lee at one of the farmers markets and was looking for squash blossoms.
According to Bob, that was unheard of in the early 1980s. They didn't think much of the request until the same lady came back and asked for the blossoms again.
And he said, "Now, Dad, she is serious." And I said, "Is she okay? Is she, was she on drugs or anything?" And it so happened that it was Iris Balin, who was the executive chef for Prescott Ball and Turbin in Cleveland at the time. And he said, she's willing to pay 50 cents a piece for them. And I said, "How many she want?" We were off and running.
What she was looking for and what she was suggesting really resonated with us, particularly with my dad. Being a generation older, it made sense to him. And so it really evolved us towards the heirlooms and growing naturally and sustainably and working directly with chefs, because at that time there was really a demand for sustainably grown products that didn't exist. And so our focus has been working directly with chefs for really the last 30 years.
Chefs like Jonathan Sawyer of the Greenhouse Tavern in downtown Cleveland, the first certified green restaurant in the state of Ohio.
For us, opening a certified green restaurant in Ohio sort of seemed a little bit crazy to a lot of people, but it was a natural progression for us. Being a chef with the training and the mentors that I've had, Charlie Palmer, Michael Simon, Philippe Ruiz, other guys, they all believe that the closer the proximity of farm and soil to the restaurant, the better the restaurant is.
And with the Chef's Garden just 35 miles away, they're using some of the freshest produce available, like lettuce, tomatoes, and these grilled veggies.
One of our vegan dishes that we really enjoyed for a long time was Farmer Lee Jones vegetables and papier. And it was just a dish where we were like, "Farmer, just send us whatever's coming in that you're like beautiful and proud of, and we're going to put it in a beautiful little package, a little bit of white miso, a little bit of olive oil, and steam them all together." And then that dish was so popular, we were like, well, at lunch we could just do a vegetable item where we just grill, whatever you're giving us that's in the season, on the season.
When we began to deal with the chefs, we knew it was a different world. So we totally changed our concept, and we used as a model the way our great-grandfathers would have farmed. Crop rotation, natural materials, not using any commercial chemicals, growing things the natural way, not fighting with nature, figuring out how to work with it.
The Chef's Garden is surrounded by 3,000 to 5,000 acre farms, and they consider their property to be a small farm at 300 acres, with only a third of that in production at any one time.
We're in a field here of baby lettuces. These are all heirloom varieties. These 30 years ago were so uncommon because the only lettuce we knew 30 years ago was iceberg and romaine. And those were the varieties that would handle a trip from California. When I was a kid, you thought about an heirloom as being a piece of furniture that your grandmother handed down to your mom. But an heirloom is anything worthy of being passed down from one generation to the next. And we do grow about 700 different varieties of herbs and vegetables. Microgreens is certainly a part of it, but it's really anything that we find that has a unique characteristic of flavor or texture or color.
Like the many different varieties of tomatoes grown in this greenhouse, different colors, and many you wouldn't find in a home garden, like this one with thorns. More like a rose bush than a tomato plant.
And they're not a tomato that ships 3,000 miles, but they're a tomato that has flavor you have to have a tomato in one hand and a hanky in the other, and you've got juice that just spurts out. They're just full of flavor.
And they're best right off the vine.
They are.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Oh my gosh. You can eat those like candy, really.
Part of what makes the produce taste so amazing is the location of the farm.
I will challenge you to find a better tomato any place in the world. Now, that's due to a lot of things. Our skill, of which is the least. The ground here is superbly suited for vegetables.
Well, this soil in this area is unbelievable. It's a microclimate due to the proximity of Lake Erie. Lake Erie is the shallowest of all the Great Lakes. Consequently, it's the warmest. And so it creates a microclimate here, unlike any other in the world. Now, you get even 5 miles out from here, and you lose that microclimate effect. At one point, this county hosted the largest concentration of vegetable growers of any county in the world.
It draws some of the top chefs, like Jonathan Sawyer, to buy his produce from the farm so he can share with his customers exactly where it's coming from.
The time of our customers not being informed enough is over. People know and want to know where their food comes from, where the farms are from, and hopefully through pressure from consumers and from, intelligent customers, we can put pressure on other people first passive and then maybe forceful to start supporting local farmers.
He and other chefs not only buy their produce from here, but they also visit, thanks to the Culinary Vegetable Institute.
The Culinary Vegetable Institute was weaned really from an idea that we had had for many years. And we had a lot of help from chefs from around the country, but it's a facility where chefs can come and do R&D, R&R, but it's got a state-of-the-art kitchen where the chefs can come in. In fact, we have a chef on premise right now, 3 of them from Mandarin Oriental, New York City, that have come in to tour the farm, to see the practices, to understand our food safety commitment, but also to be able to play with ingredients and come up with new menus.
Lots of familiar faces have visited the Institute, and you may recognize Farmer Lee Jones as well. He has made several appearances as a judge on Food Network's Iron Chef and is preparing to go a 4th time in the near future.
Now, I'm not a food critic, I'm a farmer, and the first time I went, I started to think, what in the world have they got a farmer on here for? And, they explained to me, look, we just want your interpretation of this. And it was very, very amazing to get to go and see the whole thing happen.
And no matter where he goes, you can expect to see his trademark look.
And we're pretty proud of being a farmer. I actually have a patent with the U.S. Attorney General's office. It's a registered trademark for the bibs and the white shirt and the red bow tie and the ball cap. Now, not that anybody else really wants to wear this, so I do get confused sometimes for an engineer, but we're a farm, and we're okay with that, and we're happy to be on the farm. And so when I go to New York City, this is what I wear, and I've been to black tie events, and I'll gussy up for those and put a jacket on.
They're also very proud of their nonprofit called Veggie U that puts curriculum in 4th grade schools to battle childhood obesity and teach kids to make better food choices.
Are they going to make the right choice every time? Heck no, neither do we. But if they're empowered with that knowledge to make better choices, they will make better choices. This is a program that goes right in the classroom. Ideally, we'd bring every youngster right here on the farm, but we just can't get to enough kids that way. This is a program where we take part of the farm right to the classroom.
Veggie U is in over 100 schools in Ohio and about 1,800 schools throughout the country.
They get seeds, they get soil, they get compost, they get a worm farm, they get a grow light, and they grow their own veggies. But it also weaves science, math, and health in to prepare them for proficiencies.
And the testimonials like this drives the program forward.
It's unbelievable. It has formed bonds and relationships with the youngsters and the parents. In many cases, the youngsters are going back and teaching the parent how to read a food label, why it's important to eat fresh vegetables, and why it's healthy for them.
A huge part of being a father and having children, I think, is educating them. And part of education is arming them with the tools to make the right decisions. I'm not going to force them when they're 13 to eat vegetables, but I'm going to show them where vegetables come from now.
It really does make a difference in kids' lives, and we're very, very proud of that. If we're proud of anything, that's it, because I think we're helping people.
And by working together for all these years, the Joneses have made a difference in thousands of lives.
I have been blessed to work with my family. It has been a relationship that, yes, we don't always agree, but we do understand each other, and we work with each other, and we respect each other. And I would not have done anything different for all the money in the world. If we never made another penny and we could survive, I would continue to do it.
It's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, getting to work with him. And I work with my brother, and it's a family operation. My mom and my wife are involved, and of course our extended family. We have 126 team members that work here on the farm full-time.
And they are all family. And we consider them when we make decisions. We're not just doing this for us. We're doing it for everybody here because we're all affected. Don't make too much of where we are, because all this could be gone in the snap of the finger. One good hailstorm, any number of things, it could all be gone.
On July 16th, this is where they'll have their largest fundraiser for the year for the nonprofit Veggie U, bringing in top chefs and culinary experts, and it's also open to the public. In Huron in Erie County, I'm Jennifer Boris for Western Reserve PBS.
There's a pretty good chance we'll hear a lot more about the chef's garden in the future. And with that, it's time now for Into the Future.
Into the future.
Hi, my name's Aaron Stancato. My family owns Stancato's Restaurant at State Road in Pleasant Valley in Parma, Ohio. Growing up in a family-owned restaurant, my 2 brothers, sister, and I saw the hard work that went into preparing our authentic third-generation family recipes. Besides extraordinary customer service for our guests, consistency and quality were the two most important things to my father. He taught us that when you consistently deliver high quality and great taste, you don't just satisfy your guests, you win them over and invite them back for more. My oldest brother, Perry Stancato, went off to the Culinary Institute of America, where he was introduced to many techniques that he shared with the restaurant. When he came back to the family business, he sat down and finally came to the conclusion that in order to create a consistent product, we would need to create a consistent environment in which it would be produced, and that is when Signature Sauces was born. Now in our state-of-the-art facility, my grandparents' recipes are proudly produced and bottled every week for our restaurant and sold in over 130 stores. Signature Sauces has grown, and we have developed valuable relationships with our clients that has allowed us to take their product, produce it consistently using only the finest ingredients, and package it for retail, industrial, or food service. From the moment the first ingredient is added to the kettle to the moment the label is placed on the jar, we oversee the entire process to guarantee us and the customer a product they are proud to put their signature on. Now this March, my family and I are celebrating the restaurant's 40-year anniversary and can't thank everyone enough for their business and friendships. For more information, you can find us at www.stancatos.com.
Well, hey, you know we like to give you the rundown on the financial field. And the experts at NCA Financial Planners give us a look at that now with a stock wrap.
This week's local company stock spotlight is American Greetings. For more than 100 years, American Greetings Corporation has been engaged in the design, manufacture, and sale of everyday and seasonal greeting cards and other social expression products. The company's major greeting card brands are American Greetings, Carlton Cards, and Papyrus. If you don't have time to go to the store, American Greetings also has the largest collection of electronic greetings on the web, including cards available at americangreetings.com through AG Interactive, the company's online division. You can even send an e-card using the American Greetings app, which allows you to customize your e-card with pictures stored on your Apple device. Headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, American Greetings employs approximately 18,000 full-time associates around the world and is home to one of the world's largest creative studios. American Greetings generates annual revenue of approximately $1.6 billion, and its products can be found in retail outlets domestically and worldwide. American Greetings trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol AM. Back to you, Jim.
Thanks. You know, we sure continue to have sustainability when it comes to culture and entertainment in Northeast Ohio, and we have the person who is in full accord with that. As always, it's Cool Cleveland's Thomas Mulready. He joins us now to tell you about some other events that are going on in NEOtropolis this weekend. What we're talking about is the business of fun.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com, and this week we want to continue turning you on to all the great farmers markets throughout Northeast Ohio. These happen every week, and usually you can find a different farmers market in a different city every day of the week. If you look, for example, in Lorain County, the Main Street Elyria Farmers Market takes place on Thursdays and Saturdays. In Summit County, the Peninsula Farmers Market at Heritage Farms is on Wednesday from 3:30 to 7. In Stark County, the Canton Farmers Market takes place on Saturdays from 8 to 11:30. And right here in Cuyahoga County, of course, we're in Lakewood at the Lakewood Earth and Food Farmers Market. But they have a number of them throughout the county. The North Union Farmers Market is all around town. They've got one in Chagrin Falls on Saturdays from 10 to 1. The Blue Pike Farmers Market from Thursdays from 4 to 7. And there's one right downtown, right in Public Square, the Farmers Market. They move it inside in the old arcade in the winter, and that's on Fridays from 11 to 2. So you got no excuse for fresh food. We live in a great place here with farms that have fresh food within just a few miles of us. Take advantage of your farmers markets. This is Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in NEOtropolis.
Now keep in mind, there are things that you can do to help the Northeast Ohio economy. How, you ask? Well, one good way is to get out to any of the events Thomas told us about and make your investment in fun. You can also gather your brilliant comments about the Northeast Ohio economy and plant them on the people around you and tell them to spread the word. Also, remember to log on to our website, neotropolis.org, and tell us what you think. I'm Jim Evans. We'll see you next week on NEOtropolis, not business as usual.
Funding for NEOtropolis has been provided by the Burton D. Morgan Foundation, committed to the free enterprise system.
First Place Bank is proud to sponsor NEOtropolis. As a community bank, First Place Bank believes we are only as strong as the communities we serve. Locally owned businesses are the cornerstone of our communities. We concentrate on helping local businesses make the most of their resources through a variety of services delivered with a community banking touch.
The Dominion Foundation. JumpStart, working with entrepreneurs to accelerate the growth of their high-potential businesses to create a more prosperous economic future for Northeast Ohio. Youngstown Business Incubator. And NorTech,